Are we living in a simulation? I'm obsessed with this idea. Why? Because I'm obsessed with quantum physics. It's a very complicated topic that civilians like me typically talk about when it's over their head. I'm admitting it's over my head, the specifics of it. However, the basics of it are not that complicated. Quantum physics is very simply stated. The observation of an event can change that event itself. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Well, how does that relate to are we living in a simulation? Folks, imagine for a second I'm correct. And and by the way, there's some very smart people out there who believe this is not only possible, but likely that we're living in a simulation. They've noticed this very odd phenomenon at the quantum level, that the universe doesn't appear to exist in its real material form, using air quotes, unless you're looking at it. You're probably saying, that can't be true. Of course, I mean, the table downstairs in my garage, even though I'm not there, exists. Because I'm not there, does it make it not exist? Really? How do you know that? I want you to listen to this YouTube video. Well, you know the channel? This guy, I want to give him a hat tip. What was the channel? We'll put a little thing up for it. This is a really great YouTube video. A listener sent this in, a guy by the name of Bruce. It's amazing. There's this guy, and he did this 22-minute video on are we living in a simulation? Here's the portion that matters. He's talking about the famous double slit experiment where they shine light through two slits. And the weirdest thing is the light behaves differently as a wave or a particle, completely dependent on if you're watching it. Listen to this.
It's as if the particles are aware they're being observed. Then physicist John Wheeler had an idea. He called it the delayed choice experiment. How it works is photons are projected through the double slit, but the detector is not activated until after they pass through the slit, but before they impact the screen. Photons were emitted as waves, passed through the slits as waves, but when the waves were observed before hitting the screen, they suddenly behaved like particles again. Still don't think there's an intelligence at work? Well, what Wheeler's experiment showed is that even though the electrons started as waves but behaved like particles after being observed, at the moment the decision to observe them was made, the electrons recorded themselves as having passed through the slits as particles. The electrons changed their state by going back in time.
I personally find that I gravitate more towards the information theoretic point of view and believing that the universe that I exist in is a very good, high quality simulation.
Folks, this is just staggering stuff. Again, I've become obsessed with this idea. By the way, that's the Y Files. That was a YouTube video. It's really amazing. Think about that. Observing light as a particle is it makes it easier to observe the characteristics as a particle, right? A wave is a more kind of general computational requirement. It doesn't have as much specific information as a particle. I get it to the physicists out there. You're probably laughing at my grade school level explanation, but I'm trying to keep it simple for everyone out there. Again, there's a great book on this by, I think it's Bob Lanza, called Biocentrism. It's a fantastic book. I highly recommend it, where he gets into the specifics. But I'll explain it easier this way. It's kind of a video game hypothesis. Imagine you're playing a first shooter perspective video game like Doom or whatever it may be. You're sitting there, and in this video game is this enormous universe, right? You got Doom or Halo. You got this enormous universe out there programmed into it. But because the computer has limited computational powers, at any given time, you're only seeing what's straight ahead of you in the first-person shooter game. Because the computer doesn't have enough power to program all the details about the building, and it doesn't need to. You're shooting the aliens in front of you. Who cares about what's in the building all the way back there? It's only, the pixelization is small. That's the point of that double slit experiment. This wave function is like a general thing, like it keeps the information general. But the minute you turn an observation point on to watch the light in a wave, it turns into a particle. And not only does it turn into a particle, even if it originated as a wave before the double slit, it reverse engineers itself in time. Once it sees you're watching, back into a particle. That is bananas. Which begs the question, how the hell does it know we're watching it? Folks, it's real. You can dispute it, but this is real. Even light from millions of light years ago, when you shine it through that double slit, and it originates as a wave, the minute that light sees that you're watching it, it changes back into a particle all the way back to millions of years ago. It's almost as if there was a grand designer who designed a computer program. And when you watch the computer program, they'll give you only the information you need at any specific point, but they won't give you anything else. Now, for those of you out there saying, wow, Dan, you sound like an atheist. Oh, you're far from the truth. I am an avid and vocal believer in my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Maybe he's the grand designer. At the end of that video, he addresses this, by the way. There's not necessarily any conflict with religion. But folks, I got to tell you, the evidence we're living in a simulation is everywhere. One more quick piece. Light speed. Light speed. It's the fastest we can go is the speed of light, right? Is that part of the computer program? To prevent us from going too deep into the video game because there's not enough computational power to show us everything out there if we decided to see it? Is that why light speed puts a limit on how far we can go? Watch a video. It's worth your time. That was a clip from the Dan Bongino Show. You can watch the full show. We recommend you do on Rumble. Go to rumble.com/Bongino, please, and subscribe for free. We appreciate it.